Market trades at the highest point of the day on the back of strong global cues. The Sensex and the Nifty are up over 1% each as IT, auto and frontline banking stocks see buying. The mid-caps are outperforming. Ola electrifies the street as the first quarter losses narrow over the March quarter and top line also grows by 32% year on year. Founder Bhavish Aggarwal says that the auto segment is close to a break even at the EBITDA level. The company also launched its e-motorcycle Roadster with deliveries lined up from Diwali of 2025. The stock is up nearly 20%. Hindustan Zinc has skid in trade after Vedanta launched the offer for sale at a 15% discount to Wednesday's closing price. Aurobindo Pharma also falls close to 3% as one of the company's formulation manufacturing facility has received a warning letter from the US FDA. And shares of RHI Magnesita have surged 11% after posting record high EBITDA margins. Glenmark Pharma too is up over 5% on improvement in margins and profitability. SpiceJet is under pressure on weak first quarter performance. The company's auditors have said that accumulated losses have entirely wiped out the company's net worth, and doubts remain on the company's ability to continue as a growing concern. Hello and welcome to Business Lunch this afternoon on CNBC-TV18. I am Hormus Fatakia. Let's first take a look at how the markets are faring, and it's been a very, very swift recovery from the lows of the day. We left the show of chartbusters at around 11 a.m. with the Nifty at around 24,250. Now it's at 24,450. It has crossed that mark of 24,367, which it had to cross to turn positive for the week. And yet again, if that happens, it will be yet another 2-week losing streak for the market that will come to an end today. Remember, the Nifty has not seen a 3-week losing streak since July and August of last year. So very good going for the Nifty, at least in the last couple of hours. Now 300 points higher on the index, nearly 1.5%, and heading towards that mark of 24,500 as we speak. What's leading the gains? IT is the top sectoral gainer. The IT index is now up for the 5th day in a row, and that is now up 2.5%, back above the mark of 40,000 as well is the Nifty IT index and all the IT heavyweights. But the gains also coming from the mid-cap IT end of the things, scheme of things, be it Emphasis, L&T Technologies, Zensar, Birlasoft, all of these stocks seeing very, very healthy gains in today's trading session. The mid-cap IT leading the charge in today's session. What is also doing well are the real estate stocks, media. The broader markets are also doing well for themselves. The mid-cap index is up 1.5%, as is the small-cap index. So good going all around for the markets. The Nifty Bank also is now well above the mark of 50,000, which it was struggling to cross over the last few trading sessions. So it's the bulls looking to end the week on a high, but beginning business lunch by focusing on the auto space. The automotive sector is abuzz with noteworthy vehicle launches. Ola has announced the company's foray into the electric motorcycle segment with the launch of the Roadster series. The motorcycles, the Ola Electric's bike portfolio now under this range comprises of 3 models with prices starting from 75,000. The founder, Bhavish Aggarwal, says that they will have good gross margins with motorcycles from the start, and they have already have an installed capacity of 1 million units per year. Listening to what he had to say.
Making bikes electric is a very important part of the electrification of India. The next frontier of electrification is bikes. And what we've announced today are 3 bikes, not just one, across a price band, like you mentioned, from 2.5 lakh rupees to 75,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So the Roadster Pro, the Roadster and the Roadster X.
Yeah.
Now, the important point to note for your viewers is that all these bikes will actually start from where the scooter supply chain and cost structures are already.
Yeah.
Right, because the entire platform is common.
Yeah.
And the suppliers are common, the supply chain is common. So we'll have a good gross margin from the starting point.
Bhavish Aggarwal there, and it's showing up in the stock price as well of Ola Electric. Yet another 20% surge in today's trading session. Almost there, 20%, 132 now on the stock is Ola Electric. Remember, HSBC recently initiated coverage today on the stock with a buy recommendation. They have a 140 rupee price target, and the stock has already reached 132 now as we speak. Now almost 75% higher from its IPO price, which was 76 rupees a share. Pull up M&M as well and see how that is doing in today's session, and we'll get an idea of Ola's commentary as well. Mahindra and Mahindra also trading or close to 3% higher, among the top gainers on the Nifty today, trading with gains of close to 3,000. because they're also focusing on M&M is because it has launched its most anticipated 5-door Thar, which is named Thar Rocks on Independence Day to strengthen its position in the sports SUV market. Now, Thar Rocks has been launched in 6 variants, both in petrol and diesel engine options. Now, priced between 12.99 lakh and 18.99 lakh rupees, the company expects the Thar Rocks to lead the 12.5 lakh SUV segment within the next 3 to 5 years. Now, speaking to CNBC-TV18, Rajesh Jujurikar, the ED and CEO of M&M's auto and farm business, said that they think many customers will now prefer the new Thar model compared to their previous one. Listen into what he had to say.
Of course, there will be some customers who are buying the Thar 3-door today who may want to buy and would want to buy this, and we're totally open to that as long as they stay within our portfolio. We don't mind if they buy Thar Rocks versus the 3-doors. Customers to choose, but there are different products. So that is for the more compact off-roader. This becomes more mainstream for going out with friends, families, even on a normal adventure trip, not necessarily off-roading. But there will be some cannibalization, and we totally are okay with that. We've set up a total capacity of 9,500, which has some reasonable amount of fungibility between how much we can make out of the 3-door and 5-door.
More launches from the auto space. The iconic British motorcycle brand BSA has officially been revived in India with the launch of the all-new Gold Star 650. Now, starting at 2.99 lakh, this launch marks the entry of the brand's new modern retro motorcycle. Assembled in India and available in 5 distinct color variants, the BSA Gold Star 650 goes head-to-head with the Royal Enfield's Interceptor in this category. Classic Legends, a subsidiary of the Mahindra Group, had acquired the rights from the British custodian David Bennett. Now, Anupam Sareja, who is the co-founder of Classic Legends, spoke to CNBC-TV18's Rashna Dhanrajani. Let's listen into what he had to say on this new launch.
I think the beauty of this is that we have really put our heart behind making sure a single gives what a biker needs. You can make a bike with a lot of gizmos and a lot of lights and batteries and electronics, but sometimes you make things simple. So leave the creativity to the rider, right? So it is a bike made for riders. It's a bike where we believe will get motorcycling up, will get riders back into this category. It's a very powerful machine. It's got the highest torque in its category.
And on this slew of auto launches, we take a short break here on Business Lunch. We get you more on the markets and focus on some stock-specific action on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back with us here on Business Lunch. Now, while the entire market is a green screen, the one stock that is not in the green is Hindustan Zinc, and that has seen a bit of a slide in today's session, actually quite a bit of a slide now, 8.5% lower, and that is because this promoter Vedanta has increased the size of its offer for sale to 13.3 crore shares from the 11 crore shares earlier planned. Now, Nigel is joining in with more details. Nigel, what do you have more for us?
Well, Hindustan Zinc, the limited float in the market is only around 2% approximately. The government of India has roughly around 30% stake. Vedanta has 65% stake. LIC has more than 2.5% stake. So it had very, very low float. And that's why the stock in this year itself had more than doubled. Now, Vedanta has come out with a very positive move from the Vedanta shareholder perspective. They are saying that they have 65% stake in Hindustan Zinc, and they want to sell some stake over there via the OFS route. Everyone was waiting for the government of India to go ahead and sell this stake, but Vedanta, they said, let us go first. So they are going ahead, and they earlier said that they will be selling 11 crore shares. Now it seems demand is fairly good. That's why they have upsized it to around 13.4 crore shares odd. This is great news for Vedanta because they'll be getting close to around 6,500 crores at the lower end of the price band. We'll have to see what is the ultimate price, but this is good news. That money can be used for debt repayment, for capex, as well as to pay out some dividends. For Hindustan Zinc, well, the stock is lower because the float is limited, and because of which it's priced at such a discount in comparison to the closing price as of Wednesday. At the price of around 600 rupees, well, the stock was trading at around 13 to 14 times EV upon EBITDA. So that's why it had to be priced more attractively. Not just that, the Hindustan Zinc board will be meeting on August 20th. And at that point of time, they'll be considering a dividend. Every 100 rupees that Hindustan Zinc pays out, Vedanta gets 65 rupees. So it seems that Vedanta is well placed with regard to this because they'll be getting money from the OFS and then they'll be looking forward to an additional dividend coming from Hindustan Zinc. Back to you.
There's one important thing that needs to be kept in mind that Nigel highlighted, that Hindustan Zinc has a very little float in the market, and that is also why the reactions on this stock are always on the extreme. Some flashes on your screen. Ambuja Cements has just informed the exchanges that it has completed the acquisition of Penna Cements, and therefore it has now become a subsidiary of the company effective today. Remember, they had announced this acquisition sometime last month, or in the month of June actually. Now 1% higher is Ambuja Cement completing the acquisition of Penna Cements. But moving on, the United States government has cut prices for 10 prescription drugs under the Inflation Reduction Act. Ekta is here to tell us more, and also about the impact that it could have on Indian pharma companies. Ekta, over to you.
Well, I'll start with the news first. The US government has reduced prices for 10 prescription drugs under Medicare, which is mandated by the IRA, which is the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, the list prices for all but one of these 10 medicines have been reduced by at least 50%. So, important drugs such as, say, Entresto by Novo Nordisk, which is an important heart failure drug by them, has been slashed in terms of the list price by around 53% by the US government under Medicare. Now, Medicare is one of the channels which are available to sell US drugs. For example, Medicare, which is a type of government insurance, is around 18% of US drug sales. Medicaid is another 18% of US drug sales. Other channels include commercial channels through which the drugs are sold as well. Now, what is the impact on Indian companies? Basically, we are the largest, one of the largest suppliers of generic drugs into the US. Now, the price revision of these particular 10 drugs is limited to patented drugs. That means that these drugs are already being sold under a patent and there's no generic competition in it right now. Indian generic companies will only begin selling their version of the drug once the patent expires. So as of now, there's a patent, there's no generic company which is entering the market. What has changed then is the potential market size of the generic drug. For example, Entresto. Just to illustrate this better, the drug price is slashed to $295 versus $628. So the potential starting point of a generic drug entering the market would then be $295 versus $628. But it's important to note that generic companies in any case sell their drugs at lower prices. So there's stiff price competition when genericization takes place in the market. And separately, the price cut is only limited to Medicare at this point in time. It's not to Medicaid and other channels as well. So one has to really assess that on a larger scale. I spoke to a lot of people within the industry, within the analyst community, and they're not perturbed by this news as of now.
Not perturbed by this news. Ekta, thanks a lot for that update. Moving on, global investor and author Ruchir Sharma feels that India is the last bull market of the world that is still raging. Speaking at the CNBC-TV18 town hall, he lauded the strength of this Indian market. Listen into what he had to say.
There really has been no bull market in the world this decade like India. This is a unique bull market unto itself, because also of the breadth of it.
Yeah.
Like in the US, you've had a bull market
largely driven by tech.
Concentrated by tech and a few companies at the top. In India's case, it's been extremely broad, like in terms of what's happened. You know, there are various sectors that have, virtually every sector has participated in this bull market. So it's a very unique bull market that we have seen in India. It's the like only bull market in the world, I would say today, literally, the true bull market. I think that this has been one of those incredible financialization stories that's taken place. In fact, it's very, very telling. I can observe it because even I don't know what's the framework to use here as to where to call an end to this, right? Because it's already the most expensive market in the world. In terms of, it's already, in terms of, there's the returns over the last 5 years of this market in dollar terms have even exceeded the US in terms of what it's done. There really has been no bull market in the world this decade like India.
Ruchir Sharma there at the CNBC TV18 town hall. Time for a short break. When we return, we get you all the latest updates on the Kolkata rape and murder case that has sent shockwaves across the nation. Stay tuned. Back on the other side. Welcome back. Getting you now the latest updates on the tragic rape and murder case of a 31-year-old doctor in Kolkata. Last evening, the CBI questioned 5 officials of the medical college. Meanwhile, the IMA has called for a nationwide strike for 24 hours starting tomorrow. CNN News 18's Anshul Singh has more on this.
This heinous crime that has happened in Kolkata has raised the eyebrows of many, and that is the reason why the doctors are now demanding for a Central Protection Act to be implemented so that ample amount of security could be maintained at the hospitals and colleges so that the doctors are not threatened by anyone. There have been previous cases as well where the family members of the patients have in fact gone ahead and attacked the doctors. Now the doctors are saying that to give the best kind of attention to the patients, they need safety and security, and that should be provided to them. Over the next 24 hours, the IMA has called for a nationwide protest of all services of doctors. This protest is going to start from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning and will go ahead till 6 a.m. on Sunday. Within the next few minutes, these doctors will reach towards Nirman Bhavan, that is the health ministry, and will carry out a protest over there. Definitely, the doctors are now trying to amp up pressure on the government so that the requisite action can be taken against the accused. Justice can be delivered to the victim who lost her life in this heinous crime, and also the safety and security of doctors working round the clock to give the best facilities to the patients is also amped up. How quickly will that happen? Will the government be able to find some sort of a midway with the doctors? These are few questions that we are seeking answers to. It remains to be seen if at all any sort of headway can be made from the side of the government so that it could be made sure that these protests, these strikes that are happening, that can be brought to an end.
Anshul Singh there with the latest updates. Now, the Election Commission of India is likely to announce poll dates for Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir and Maharashtra in a press conference scheduled for 3 p.m. today. And Jammu and Kashmir will be voting for the first time since the abrogation of Article 370. Maharashtra's political landscape has seen several tectonic shifts since the 2019 elections, with the 2 major local parties, the Shiv Sena and the NCP, now having split. Haryana will vote after long-drawn protests against the farm laws by farmers who form a large part of the electorate in this state. The ISRO today successfully launched the small satellite launch vehicle known as the SSLV-D3. The vehicle, carrying an Earth observation satellite, was launched from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota this morning. The SSLV-D3 mission was the 3rd and final developmental flight of ISRO's smallest rocket, which is now fully operational for future missions. The mission is expected to boost ISRO's commercial satellite launch operations. Now, a new Prime Minister will be taking charge in Thailand. 37-year-old Paetongtarn Shinawatra, the daughter of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, has been appointed as the country's youngest Prime Minister ever. She was nominated by the Pheu Thai Party after Thailand's Constitutional Court disbanded the Move Forward Party's government last week. That is a wrap on this edition of Business Lunch from me and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Midcap Radar comes up next.